What's good? Welcome to First String Podcast. On today's episode of First String Podcast, we have David Harrison with us, joining us to recap the Commanders Bucs game from Sunday. We'll go around the NFL with all of us. Lady A has a little bit of tea for us today. And of course, y'all know Sid is leaking oil everywhere. So we got a great show for you guys. I hope y'all ready. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Artlist.io.
Welcome back to First String Podcast. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to First String Podcast. Hit the bell to enable alert for new content just like this. The most important part is that you tell a friend to tell a friend about First String Podcast. Thank you for getting us over 700 subscribers. We're on our way to 800. Thanks to all of you. Without further ado, let's bring in the squad. Sid's running a little bit behind, but HR is always here and ready. Hello, HR. Hello, Lady A.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. How's it been? And how's Taz?
He's good, growing. Everything's good. Everything's copacetic.
Good. We like the fact that Taz is growing and getting bigger. Okay. Now listen. It's football season, right?
It is.
And there are certain people you stop talking to during football season, but this person has been really just twisting and bugging us here lately. Let's bring in drunk Uncle Al. How are you, Al?
Good evening. Happy Victory Tuesday.
Oh my goodness.
For some of us.
For some of us, right.
For some
Really?
of us. For half the NFL. I don't know what half you all were in, but the half that we were in was Happy Victory Week, following a successful Sunday victory in Cleveland Stadium, or whatever they call it.
We'll talk about it.
But I heard y'all had a good time in Tampa, man. I heard there's a lot of sunshine, great weather, good food.
Okay, great. Great. Let's bring in the mayor of Tampa, Mr. David Harrison. David, how are you?
I'm doing good, folks. How are you guys doing?
We are doing great. Yeah, as Al alluded to, it looks like y'all dodged a little bit of raindrops down in Tampa.
Yeah, fortunately, I can't even lie. So I wore my son bought me this pair of Travis Scott's for Father's Day, and I promised him I'd break them out week 1 of the NFL season. So I did. And for those who don't know, at least the media, I don't know where everybody else parks, but the media parks in a grass lot. So I was like, man, it's gonna rain, and I got to walk back to my car in these shoes. So fortunately, it held off for me. I know it's first world problems, but still, it's my problem.
Yeah,
those
it's
nice
okay. Hey, those are nice kicks. So yeah, I understand it. And shout out to yourself for knowing that the dad is a sneakerhead and making sure you got everything right.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate him greatly for that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna get to everybody in the chat. We know Bruce Glass is in there. We know that John is there. We got David for 25. We got 25 minutes. So we're going to jump right into this Tampa review, if you guys don't mind. If you have a question for David, please put it in the chat. I'll start and I'll try to get it in at the end, okay? So let's get right into this. David, what was your overall view of this game? We know we have our opinions. We done listened to them for a couple of days. Let's get your review, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, there's some stuff to be encouraged by, but there's certainly some stuff that needs to be cleaned up, and the team is well aware that it needs to be cleaned up. There's a lot of people in the organization that they, just like I think most of the fan base, expected a more competitive outing, right? I don't know how many people expected the Commanders to beat the Buccaneers, but I know that everybody was kind of expecting, or even just hoping, even if you want to get beyond the expectation label of it, just hoping this team was going to be more competitive. Obviously, the news all offseason has been good. The reviews in training camp have been positive. The joint training camp practice against the Jets was pretty rough, right? But there were some kind of qualifiers there, like you're missing your top 3 tackles from an offensive perspective, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. And then the joint practice against the Miami Dolphins went much better. And you liked what you saw out of the starting unit in the 3 preseason drives that you got to see out of them. So all of those things kind of help to build confidence. And of course, the Commanders fan base wants to be successful, right? They want to celebrate wins and all this stuff. And they want this team and this franchise to be back at the top of the NFL like they were for so many years, those decades ago. So that drives it a little bit too. And I think that what week 1 ended up becoming was a little bit more of a reality check for some people. I've been talking to a lot of Commanders listeners, and I said, personally, I look at this team as a 6 or a 7 win team. I think the over under on them coming into the season was 6.5 wins. I said, take the over at 7, right? That's not much of an over, but it is an over. And I think that the important thing to remember is, for me, at least specifically, there's 8 games this year that the Commanders are playing against 2023 playoff teams in. And this was one of them. And it's the very first one of the season. That's a tough draw. And it's on the road. So they're 0-1 against playoff teams. I said I think they could go 2-6 against playoff teams. So you got 7 more chances to win 2 out of those 7. So you still might go 2-5. So what that means, though, is if you're a Washington Commanders fan, you're going to see this team potentially go up against some really good teams, and they are probably going to lose some of those games. And if they lose some of those games, again, to playoff caliber teams, you're probably going to lose some of those by, a good margin. And that's just part of the process of growing is kind of going through those things. But the key thing is, head coach Dan Quinn's kind of been doubling down on his doing hard stuff, right? I'll clean it up. Good people. And he said, this is part of that hard stuff. Like the hard stuff isn't training camp. The hard stuff isn't preseason or OTAs. The hard stuff is now. The hard stuff is when it counts, when it matters, when your numbers, your records, all that stuff go in the books. Like game 1 is done. What you did in game 1 is there for all of history and all the time and for every fan to see. That's over. It's what you do moving forward that matters next. And that's part of the process of doing hard things with good people. So, we'll see how much they grow from this in 1 week. And then obviously onwards and upwards, hopefully, against Cincinnati Bengals, Arizona Cardinals team that looked pretty stinking good in week 1.
All right. It looks like Sayed is here. He's going to be jumping in here in a few seconds. I got the first question. Actually, I have the first 2 because the second is a follow-up, okay? So my question to you is literally, this is the first time that the Commanders put everything together, right? Because they didn't all play together on during the preseason. Preseason's taken sort of like lightly now, right? Well, we know this person's good, we know that person's good, things of that nature. But for us to put it together for the first time, right? Like, what do you say, or how is it that you could find a positive in what happened? Because basically your secondary got shredded, right? And you got to get those guys back up for the next Sunday. We don't have time to sit around and soak. We got to get right back to it. How do you do that?
I mean, as far as like getting reps in the preseason, like I know like a lot of people have kind of turned to that and said like maybe this team should be playing more in the preseason, get more reps. The problem you have there when you talk about risk reward is we all have to remember every offense you're facing in the preseason is incredibly vanilla. Every defense you're facing in the preseason is incredibly vanilla. So, in theory, like giving, say Emmanuel Forbes, for example, more reps in the preseason gives him more looks against receivers and defense or offenses and all these things. Sure. And it absolutely does. But the question is, are those looks valuable, right? It's a difference between the quality of the training you're getting and the amount of training and the quantity of the amount you're getting. And the bottom line is going up against, the New York Jets 4th and 5th, receivers, or 6th and 7th and 8th receivers, even in the preseason against very standard looks with no motion, no shifts, and no true progression because there's also no game planning, right? Is not going to give him the quality of experience that some people might think it would compared to the risk. You look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they come out of this week 1 matchup with the win, right? But they are losing Antoine Winfield Jr. for a couple of weeks due to an injury. They've lost Bryce Hall for the entirety of the season. Not officially, but Todd Bowles has already said he's out for the entirety of the season. Zion McCollum left in the first quarter of this game with a concussion. And I mean, it was such a bad concussion, guys, that he went to the locker room to be evaluated. This wasn't a sideline evaluation. He went to the locker room, never came back out, and he was eliminated from that game almost immediately. So that shows you how intense that concussion was. So you're looking at least, I would say, 2 weeks of Zion McCollum being out. So that's 3 cornerbacks or 3 defensive backs, I should say, that you're now going to be without, including your top free safety, arguably the top free safety in the NFL, one of your starting cornerbacks who's in his first year as a starter. So think about who your backups are behind him if you're using a first-year starter opposite of Jamel Dean, and you've got a date with the Detroit Lions next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers came out with the victory, right? But now when you look at these 2 teams, Washington Commanders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'll tell you right now, the prognosis for the week 2 matchup looks much better for Washington than it does for Tampa right now. And after week 2, both these teams might be 1-1. The only difference is one of them may be unhealthy, and one of them, knock on wood, is still going to be healthy. So that kind of just shows you why do teams not want to put their stars out there for preseason snaps, because just in the blink of an eye, you can lose 3 guys just like that. And so the quality of the opponent and the scheme that you're seeing is not worth the risk.
But at the same time, as we watch some of these games, we see some of these quarterbacks look horrible.
Yeah.
Those same quarterbacks look horrible are the ones who got no reps during the preseason.
This is fact.
And despite what everybody says, these joint practices, quarterbacks aren't being hit. It's different when you're being hit. So I agree with what you're saying. In the blink of an eye, you could lose 2 or 3 players, but at the same time, you look at all those teams who quarterback look really, really bad on Sunday. Watson, who was I was talking about? They all look like they needed reps. You know what I'm saying? They needed reps.
They do.
Live
They
reps.
absolutely need reps. You're 100% correct.
I mean,
they need quality.
You're right. It's a given.
That's the difference.
It's a give and take. Jalen Hurts is another one. They won, but he looked horrible in the 4th quarter. He looked like he needed an oxygen tank. I mean, I'm just telling the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
you're 100% right. You're 100% right.
So that's why I say
you want to know what a coach would tell you? You want to know what a coach would tell you? Because I've had this conversation. You want to know what a coach would tell you?
What do you think?
Tell me you're not going to have a quarterback that looks bad in the NFL in week 15.
Right.
You're going to have a quarterback that looks bad in week 15.
Oh, no.
That's what they'll tell you.
I'm sure about that. It's just like, I mean, it's like I said. I mean, even Kirk Cousins, got no reps. By the 4th quarter, he looked like he needed oxygen.
Yeah.
Not saying.
I would tell you guys,
that,
week 1 football looks sloppy everywhere. Penalties are the highest.
Not everywhere. Not everywhere.
Quarterbacks are sloppiest. The blocking is the sloppiest.
But
you know what I mean?
But it's true. That's true.
Yeah. So, okay. Say it came in. He's ready. He got a full clip. He didn't got in there. Go ahead, say it. Get your
I mean, that was he answered one of the questions that I had.
All right. Let's go to
we talking about people playing during the preseason. Because if you look at certain teams who did not play their starters in the preseason, those teams struggle. They struggle blocking, they struggle tackling, they struggle on offense and defense. I'm not saying that they have to play but it just seems like they're missing something on the conditioning side prior to coming to game 1. That's what it looks like. I guess that's the best way to put it. I guess you can't say reps. I guess you can say the conditioning portion of it looked like they were missing something.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, that's a bigger problem than preseason. What that really is the limitations that the teams have because of the CBA. Like every time the CBA gets redone, these teams are allowed to work these guys out less and less and less. And that's really part of that, because players will tell you now that it takes about the first 3 or 4 weeks of NFL games to fully get into football shape. So you're 100% right, but I don't think the correlation between who played more reps and who didn't play more reps is necessarily where you need to go, because teams like the Dallas Cowboys were without guys like CeeDee Lamb for all the training camp, certainly came out firing on all cylinders. Guys like Brandon Ayuk were missing during training camp, and certainly their teams came out and still looked good. Trent Williams, same thing, although Trent was certainly gassed and had to go get an IV during part of that game, but you can still be successful, right? Those things don't dictate whether you're going to be successful or not be successful. So, that's just, it's part of it. You can make an argument on either side of it, but honestly, every argument on either side of it is mostly anecdotal, and it's something that you're not really going to be able to address until you look back on it. So you just got to make the best decision you can while you're in it.
All right, Lydia, get in there.
Okay, so during the game we watched, it was a roller coaster, I would say. But during the game, did you see any in-game adjustments that could possibly it could have helped or hurt them as far as the outcome is concerned?
So I think that for the most part, when you look at the in-game adjustments for the team, there's a little bit of rotation on the offensive line. So I'm not sure how much of a fan I am of that, to be quite honest with you. But I think a lot of this is still this team being in fact-finding mode and kind of still trying to figure out where they are, where they're the strongest, and where they want guys to play. It's very interesting to me that Dan Quinn chose to have Brandon Coleman not only come in as a left tackle at some point, but also come in as a right tackle, because I don't know if you have a plan to play him at right tackle, if that's really worth the rub. But again, that's part of the strategy that he's not really going to divulge to us anymore than anybody else. But honestly, for the most part, they basically stuck to kind of a zone coverage look. They did shift to a man coverage look at one point in time, but when they switched to a man coverage look, they started getting burned even worse than they were against zone. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers averaged 10 yards per carry in the 5 runs that they ran against man coverage. Now, again, that's a very small sample size, but in those 5 carries in the zone care, when they were in zone coverage and your defenders have their eyes towards the line of scrimmage, can react a little bit faster to run plays, they were averaging less than 3 yards per carry. Now, again, how much of that is factual and anecdotal? Because at the same time, when the Buccaneers or when the Commanders happen to switch to more of a man coverage scheme and obviously are reacting to runs in a man coverage look, Bucky Irving also started getting more carries for the Buccaneers, and he was the one who kind of got the bulk of those yards. So how much of it was really the being in man coverage? How much of it was Bucky? You know what I mean? Like, again, these are things in week 1 you can't answer fully, but it is an interesting little nugget of data to kind of look in.
Al?
All right, I'm going to talk about what I think a lot of people want to know. They've talked about it all day. The 16 carries by Jalen Daniels.
Yeah.
Now, how much it looks, I don't know, how much was him just really just going through his first read and tucking it and going? And how much of those do they want to continue to incorporate? Because they kept it so vanilla in the preseason. We wasn't sure what kind of offense we're going to run. This isn't a Cliff Kingsbury style offense with a 16 carry quarterback. What should we expect? How much of that should we expect to see going into next week? And how much of it was part of the game plan in that?
That was not part of the game plan. I can tell you right now, like the game plan was not for Jaden Daniels to run the ball 16 times. That being said, people got to remember he's a rookie quarterback. You know what I mean? And processing, it has to happen a lot faster in the NFL. It's a lot harder in the NFL. College teams, especially your good college teams, don't really get exotic with a whole lot of things. One, because they are signaling in their calls with hand signals. And so you want to be as clear and concise as you possibly can, because any amount of confusion can mess up a whole play, right? So you're simplified. You have to be simplified because of that aspect alone. Second, if you're Alabama and you've only got 3 games against teams that have more than 5 players heading to the NFL in the next year, you can get away with just winning by pure athleticism. So you don't need to be complicated, right? So you come to the NFL and you're a quarterback that played at LSU, won a Heisman Trophy. You might have seen a handful, maybe at the most in your college career, of truly complex schemes. And even then, your guys, the Malik Neighbors of the world, the Brian Thomases of the world, they're going to beat those complex quote unquote schemes. And you have to remember that the hashes are also aligned differently on a college field. So there's a lot of different things that Jaden Daniels just experienced for the first time. And when you look at the tape, there are opportunities that he missed in the passing game. There's a seam route that Terry McLaurin starts off in the slot, runs up the seam, and he's crossing from the left to the right side, pretty much wide open. The deep safety is not in position to get over top of that route, and the corner is in trail technique, and he's too far behind to really make a play. If Jaden Daniels sees that route and throws that route, it's a touchdown, to be quite honest with you. There's a couple of other plays. There's another one where he's got Zach Ertz on a short in-breaking dig, and he's got Olamide Zaccheaus on a right-side short stop route, and he's got Jamison Crowder running a right-side go up the right sideline, and he's got Luke McCaffrey on a deeper in-breaking dig. All four routes are open. Every single one of those routes are open. To me, it looks like the progression was Zach Ertz on the short dig, and then Olamide Zaccheaus on the short out or short stop on the right side. Jane looks at both of them. He didn't take either one of them. He ended up getting sacked. You want to see him make those throws, and he wants to make those throws. And I promise you, in the film room, when he saw them, he slapped himself on the forehead. When he saw it on the iPad on the sideline, he got mad at himself. But the thing is, you got to remember what he's facing. He's going up against a defense that's known for being exotic, known for being incredibly aggressive. It's an NFL stadium. It's an NFL game. His internal clock is already wound tight. And one thing we've been telling you guys all training camp, one thing that Jaden Daniels is decisive. Now, on that play I just diagrammed for you, He didn't make a decision at all. He ended up getting sacked, right? But the rest of the game, he's decisive. So as soon as his brain says, I don't have what I want, I'm taking off, that's the decision that he's made, and that's what he's going to do. But you also get some 17-yard, 19-yard, 12-yard runs out of those decisions. So those are the positives. The process is, okay, you've now seen an NFL defense for the first time. You've lived it, you've breathed it, you've watched it, you've studied it, you've looked at the iPad. Now when you come into it next time against the New York Giants, you're going to be a little bit more comfortable. And then against the Bengals, and then against the Cardinals, and so on and so forth. And if you can keep him healthy and you can keep the good stuff developing, then hopefully what you get is a quarterback that ends up being incredibly confident as an NFL talent. But I think that, again, expectations have to be are married to the fact that this is still a rookie quarterback. And I broke it down on my show of I think it's 74 NFL games that have been played in the month of September by a rookie quarterback in the last 10 years. Jaden was about top 16, top 20 in his one game among all of them. So in the last 74 rookie games, he's still one of the top rookies, even though some people come away disappointed. That just kind of shows you what rookies do and what rookies go through to get this thing going. You know what I mean? So, a lot of pressure is going to be on the defense because they need to keep the scores low. That's a whole other conversation.
Right.
But from Jaden's perspective, what you don't want to see is him sitting back there and just taking hit after hit after hit, because we saw what happens when that happens.
Right.
Well,
We
the
got 3
ultimate
questions for you. We got 3 last questions for you real fast. My first one is this: will the Washington Commanders have to lose Terry McLaurin before they start, for him to get featured as a number 1 wide receiver? Because around the NFL, you look at number 1 wide receivers and they get targets. They are into the game plan. We didn't see Terry get targeted until the third quarter with that first play out of the locker room, which was a go route.
He got targeted before that, but he definitely didn't get targeted enough, to your point, right? He definitely didn't get targeted enough, and there were definitely some plays left out on the field. And again, you know what I mean? I promise you that Jaden's looking at him. The hard part for a rookie quarterback, especially one that protects the ball as much as Jaden does, is getting to that point where he can trust his guys and just say, I just need to put the ball down there, right? To go back to like Taylor Heineke, F it, Terry's down there somewhere, right?
Right.
It takes a lot of guts to do that. Like, honestly, it takes a lot of guts, because when you throw that ball, every time you throw that ball, you're throwing your reputation with it. You know what I mean? And nobody's going to care. Like when you hear Jameis Winston threw more than 30 interceptions in a single season, threw 30 interceptions in a single season, how many of you remember how many of those were tip passes? How many of you remember how many of those hit receivers in the hands and were deflected? Nobody remembers any of them. I covered it and I don't remember any of them, right? So at the end of the day, that's your legacy, is how well you protect the football, and that's your job security, is how well you protect the football. I think Jaden, on the throws where he did throw with anticipation, I think he showed better anticipation than most rookies do. But I still think Jaden is very much a plan first quarterback. And when the plan that he has in his head doesn't develop on the field, it causes him some pause, because again, he's not used to having to process that information as quickly as it did. Now, the New York Giants defense is a little bit more straightforward than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. And again, armed with the information. And look, Tavita Pritchard, David Blau, Cliff Kingsbury, Terry McLaurin, Bobby Ingram, I promise you, Dan Quinn, they're all in there telling him, look, dude, you get Terry McLaurin single covered, just rip it, bro. Just rip it. Just throw it down there. Now, what you might see, though, is a couple of overthrows. Now, I'll tell you, on that overthrow to begin the second half, Terry McLaurin slowed down on that route. I don't know why Terry McLaurin slowed down on that route, but Terry McLaurin slowed down on that route. I'm not saying it's his fault, right? But if Terry McLaurin doesn't slow down on that route, it at least hits his fingertips before it falls to the ground, if it doesn't get brought in. So, there's 2 parts to that story as well. But, yeah, I think that next week you might see Jaden be a little bit more aggressive. The question is, are you going to see him be too aggressive and almost go the opposite direction and maybe have a 2 interception game because he ends up throwing in double coverage or something crazy like that? Because that's not what you want to see. Titans fans just got done watching Will Levis play that game. It's not a fun one to watch.
All right. One more. We got 2 questions for you, Lady A. Read that one, please. What
was the mood in the locker room after the game?
Irritated. So I said this on my last episode of Locked On Commanders. They were irritated, not frustrated, right? And that's kind of a weird way for me to try to get deep into emotions, right? But to me, when you're irritated by something, it's more a question of how do I attack this, right? When you're frustrated by something, now your emotions are starting to take over. And when your emotions start to take over, that's never going to be good for anybody. So when you're irritated, it still motivates you, right? Irritation still energizes you. Frustration starts to drain you, I think. And again, I'm not a psychologist, so somebody with a psychology degree out there might be like, that don't make no sense. But hopefully you understand kind of what I'm talking about. The team was irritated. Honestly, one of the best things I heard from Sam Cosmi when he was asked, like, hey, kind of what happened up front, because the offensive line, I won't say they were terrible, but they weren't great, right? And when Sam was asked, hey, what happened up front, like today, like what happened with all the pressure, and he said, honestly, I don't know. We got to go turn on the tape. We got to figure it out. And you kind of like that, because I know a lot of people would want this player who just got off the NFL field, who just got this 4-year extension, to say, oh, here's exactly what happened and here's how we fix it. But then the question always comes after that, well, bro, if you know what happened, you know how to fix it, why didn't y'all just do it right there? So what this kind of shows you is you have your veteran guard who's the leader of this offensive line with the attitude of, we're going to go in the film room on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we're going to go in there with an open mind, and we're going to go in there listening to our coaches, and we're going to go in there taking the information for what it is, not making excuses, and learn and get better. And that is the path to continually being successful. When you hear teams or players come in and say, they didn't do anything to beat us, nothing else happened, we just got to execute better. What you're basically hearing them say is, we're going to do the exact same thing we did tonight next weekend. We're just going to be better at doing it.
We heard
how
that
many,
last
How many
year.
of y'all have ever not paid a bill and then said, well, the next time I'll just not pay the bill again, but it'll go better this time. They won't cut off my power or whatever it is. That's not going to work, right? That's you're just hitting your head on a wall hoping it's going to stop hurting.
Yeah. All right. Our last question for you is the question of the month. Okay. So you might want to grab
Question
a
of
pen.
the month, September 10th.
Question of the month is on September 10th. Yes, sir. All right. Who are the top 5 scariest players to play against? Right.
Oh my goodness.
Offense, defense, and special teams. You can give them all. Offense, defense, and special teams. Lady A, you didn't get to answer this question yet, and I believe Al, you haven't answered the question yet. So we'll get y'all answer later, but we're gonna get David's now, so he can. Top 5 scariest players to play against.
In the entire NFL.
NFL.
In the entire NFL. Current
past,
players?
past, present, future.
Past, present, future. Okay. Wow, this is gonna get me in trouble. I'm gonna go Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's not the most talented cerebral quarterback, but I think his mix of athleticism, arm talent, and cerebral ability makes him the hardest quarterback to go, or the scariest quarterback to go up against, probably of all time, at least so far, right? Lawrence Taylor. I know he's an NFC East rival, but sorry,
yes.
Lawrence Taylor was
he's
that guy. To make up for that, I'm gonna go with Sean Taylor. I mean, I can't imagine anybody that went across his zone or area not being terrified to do so, including punters in the Pro Bowl. That's crazy.
It's Terrell Owens.
So I'll go Sean Taylor. Barry Sanders, because I mean, good luck to your ankles, your knees, your ACLs, all that stuff. What's that for? And then Dion. I mean, if the ball goes even anywhere near Dion, that thing could just be a touchdown for his team as a receiver, as a defensive back. And again, I know he was a former Cowboy, so I'm sorry for that. But yeah. That's and then I'm going to throw in an extra there. I'm going to throw in Justin Tucker, because if you got Justin Tucker on your team, all you got to do is get within 60 yards of those goalposts and his points.
Yeah, good job, David. I didn't put that into the rundown on purpose. I wanted you to think on the spot with that one right there.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be truthful to you. I don't read the rundown because I don't want to prep my answers to you. I like having the natural flow of the conversation. So I appreciate you. Yep. I know some people need them and want them, but I like having conversations with y'all. So I just want to keep it real.
Yeah. Okay. So those were the questions. All right. So you were the mayor of Tampa for the reporters. This is off. This is just us conversating right now. So what was the best thing that you did this weekend in Tampa with your fellow colleagues?
I mean, honestly, the best thing that I did, and I know they're not going to get offended because they're going to understand. But my guy Bailey Adams and I came up in this sports writing world together. Going through blog sites and all that stuff, and working our way up to where we are today. Today he's a full-time Buccaneers beat reporter for Pewter Report, one of the outlets there in Tampa, Florida, and he's a lot younger than I am, so I have a little bit of like a big brother aspect on him as well. But just a really cool dude, man. Him and his dad took me out to breakfast Sunday morning before the game. We met up in Tampa, went to a really good spot, and just broke bread and had a good conversation and linked back up. But I also went to Columbia, which is a restaurant in Ybor City. One of the more popular. It's been open since 1905. It's just a hot spot of Tampa, and went there with a bunch of beat reporters and some of the photographers. All Pro was there, things like that, and we just had a good time. Then we shut the place down. We got there about 8:30. I don't think we left till like close to midnight. So, just had a good time and enjoyed being in the city, enjoyed the food and the atmosphere. You know what I mean? So it was just a good time. I love Tampa. The Buccaneers are the team that gave me my first opportunity to cover an NFL organization. So they're always going to have a special place in my heart. Caught up with a lot of people in that team, coaches, a couple got to see, didn't really get to catch up. I got to see a couple of other players that I've connected with over the years there. As much as I want to see the Commanders be successful, because nobody wants to talk about bad football, right? Everybody wants to talk about good football. There are some people
we
in
just
Tampa
want to
that
talk
I'm
about
certainly
winning football.
happy to see. Yeah, absolutely. So good time in Tampa, but I know I gave you like 3 things. You asked me for like 1 thing, but there we go.
Nope, but it's fine because it seems like you had a great time in Tampa. We appreciate your time. Thank you for all. We got one more. I think you.
Oh, they're on point.
See that?
They're on point. They're always on point. Cuban sandwich is the best sandwich in the world for a reason. I mean, there's a spot out here in Virginia. I'm not in where I live in Virginia. I'm not gonna say it by name because people are gonna think I'm talking trash about it. I'm not. They make a Cuban. It's a Virginia Cuban. You know what I mean? Like it's not all that, but it's sufficient. But it's hard to get a bad Cuban sandwich. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Especially in Miami.
Especially in Tampa, Florida. Right.
Oh yeah, Miami. There were some recommendations I got from you guys for Miami. I checked out those spots. I think I had like 3 Cuban sandwiches while I was in Miami for that 5 days. Cuban sandwiches in the press box, Raymond James Stadium. So I had to grab that as well. But yeah, Cuban sandwiches are on point.
All right. Jay Black, we're gonna talk in a minute. Thank you, David, for your time.
What did he say? What did he say? Let me know what he said.
Hold up. He said, "Here's Jay Black. Jay Black. Here's
oh my goodness.
OJ, Aaron Hernandez, Ray Lewis."
All right. With that, I'm out. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. We'll get back with you. All right. Thank you, David. We appreciate you. We'll tap back in with you later on in this NFL season. That's David Harrison. Read his Locked On Commanders podcast. Amazing podcast. Read his work also on SI David everywhere, just like someone said earlier in the comments. And we appreciate him tapping in with us. We appreciate each and every one of you tapping in with us too. Don't forget to like and subscribe to First String Podcast. Hit the bell to enable alerts for new content just like this. We're going around the NFL next. So here's how we did this. All of us are going to give you like 2 games that we're going to talk about, right? Lady A, should we let him go first or should we not?
I mean, I feel like we should all just start talking about these games. I think that we should all, come together as a group. Just to make sure that someone doesn't hog the time. You know what I mean? We don't want people to hog the time and spend too much time on unnecessary stuff.
Unnecessary. Absolutely. Okay, so listen. So Al, you got 3 minutes. Three.
Man, what is this, man? Comments at church, man. I'm going to let my time to giving you good information, man.
Okay, now, come on. What games you talking about now?
The first game we shall talk about is the team who's tied for first place in the NFC East. The Dallas Cowboys played the Cleveland Browns. Excuse me. It was the news of the day, of course. I told you Jerry likes stealing headlines. That the highest paid person, guaranteed money in the NFL, highest paid quarterback, got his $240 million 4 years. We all know how I feel about that, but I'm on board. We're moving forward. Dak had a pretty good day, nothing special. I think the defense looked fired up.
No.
What? The defense looked fired up, played well. We played well on all 3 sides of the ball, special teams, defense, and offense. I was happy with that. We didn't try to do too many things out of character. Zeke looked fresh for the first part of this season, which is good news. Deshaun Watson looked awful, but I think part of that was the defense he faced. I think they're giving the guy too hard of a problem on the field. Off the field, he's made his own problems. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But the defense looked lively, man. Trayvon looked great coming off of ACL injury. Defense, Michael Parsons, pressure. D-Law, the one of the sinners, one of the unprecedented, what should I say? The unsung hero of my defense. Looked well. The next game we're going to talk about, since you all look like, I'll talk about the first place team. I'm gonna leave the Atlanta and the Steelers for my man Sid. even though I'm gonna have some words for him, is can they please leave my man Sean McDermott alone in the Buffalo Bills? All they do is win games. All Josh Allen does is play like an MVP most years. But they keep wanting my man to get fired, and then the quarterback to say he's not doing nothing. He's not Patrick Mahomes. No one else is Patrick Mahomes. Let him live. So those are my two games. The first place, or tie for first place, Dallas beats Cleveland soundly in all three facets of the game, and the Bills come from
Al,
behind.
I'm not here to bring down the mood or dump on Dak after he got paid, but my man with
Uh-huh.
19 for 32, 179 yards, one
What
TD,
else
he
did
was
he do?
sacked 3 times, rushed one time
What,
for 3 yards. And by the way, he was on my fantasy bench. He only produced 11.4 points.
hey, Pick, he's not here for
That
you. He's here for
that's
the
not
team.
good. That's not good.
He's not here for you. He's
That's
not here
not
for
good.
the team. He what's that he did do well in? The W stat line.
Yeah, you're right. Let's
That
move
is
on to
his
your
job.
next game.
That is his
It's
What's
a
your
job.
whole
next game?
team. It's a whole team, Al.
What's your
My
next
next
game,
game,
Al?
my next game, I told you, is the Buffalo Bills and the Arizona Cardinals. Buffalo, I mean, I don't call him Superman because Superman is Mahomes. Let's call him Batman. He played well, man. He willed his team to win, brought the
He
Bills
did.
back, and,
He did.
and he played second to maybe Lamar Jackson. He had the most dominating game from the quarterback position on both sides. So I don't know what else they want. They keep wanting to put, like I said, they keep wanting to put my man Sean McDermott
Put
on the
that
hot
up.
seat. All he does is win games. Leave him alone. Buffalo will win the NFC East. I mean the AFC East, and they're tied for first place in the AFC East. What more do you want from the guy? They're playing great. Leave Buffalo alone. Let them win the AFC East, and let Dallas get ready for um New Orleans next week. That's all I
All
got,
right.
man.
Yeah,
Y'all can have it.
they got
I
the
hope my
Saints
three
here.
minutes is up.
Y'all got to
Yes.
say, yeah, your
Okay.
3 minutes been up, but it's okay. We let you get a little extra time because John said
Oh,
if you
boy.
turn the sound off, it looks like Al is singing making an R&B video. That's what John said. All right.
Yeah. I'm glad you covered those two teams because one of those teams I wouldn't have said anything positive about.
Oh, Buffalo, or no, it could have been. Well, I know it probably was Dallas, but it's okay.
No, it was
That's in your heart.
Buffalo. Nobody.
It was
When are
Buffalo.
you going to understand that we really don't care about your team? We really don't. Poor thing.
Okay, lady. Hey, let's get to
Buffalo
your
is
Oh, and
thoughts.
but you know what? Let me say this about Al. Let me say this about Al and those Dallas Cowboy fans. It doesn't take much to please them. Did you hear Al say we are tied for number one spot in the NFC East? It's
I was
week
just
one, my love.
What?
giving stat lines. I was just giving stat lines. Man.
Oh, okay. I didn't
I
know
was just describing.
we
I
were
didn't say we're about to talk about the last place team in the AFC East,
No,
okay.
not you.
Washington. Commanders. I just
Okay,
spoke
who you
about them.
got? Who you
I'm
got, Lady
sorry.
A?
Yeah.
Y'all
So
go
I
ahead.
chose a couple of really close games, and
You
of course, I
did.
want you guys to chime in. We have the one, the only Herbal Essence, his team, the Jaguars
Yep.
playing. For those who don't know who I'm referring to, I was talking about the one, the only. Trevor Lawrence, you know, he always takes off his helmet. It's more interesting most of the time to watch him take off his helmet and somehow his hair is like
It's
immaculate. And I
Perfect.
mean, like, I don't understand. But you know, nonetheless, Trevor finished the game. Unfortunately, the Jacksonville Jaguars lost, but they lost by a very small margin. The game was 20-17 against the Dolphins. The Dolphins took that game. So Trevor, you know, had luxurious hair for nothing. But he was 12 for 21, 162 yards with one touchdown. Now, my cousin Tua, he was
Ooh.
22 for 37, 338 yards, one touchdown. So clearly, you know, he was on one, but we're going to talk about some possible reasons why Miami didn't do what Miami normally does, and that's like destroy everyone else. I actually was surprised that this game was as close as it was, but I had a feeling that it was going to be this close. Um, we have, as far as Jaguars, their top player for rushing was Tank Bigsby. 12 yards, 73 carries. He was averaging 6.1. Travis actually got their one. He got a touchdown. Travis got their touchdown. Well, one of their touchdowns. 12 carries, 44 yards, 3.7. And then who else had that other? Oh, Brian Thomas Jr. Got their other touchdown, 4 yards, 47 yards, 4 receptions, 11.8 averaging. I just feel like, Miami was pretty low key. So because they were low key, it was just a back and forth for the first half, but Jacksonville just didn't show up for the second half.
It's week
and that was what happened with them. Go ahead, pick what were you about to say?
I was gonna say it's week 1. Like these offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators have the most amount of time to prepare for a team, especially if that team hasn't changed staffs at all. They know what they're going to do because they just go back and watch the tape from a couple of years. Like everyone says that Washington had the advantage on Tampa because no one knew what our OC was going to do. We don't know how his offense has evolved. Well, guess what? Jay Gruden came on Monday and said his base running scheme is an inside zone. They didn't run that because Vita Vea is in the middle, right? So Jacksonville had plenty of time to try to match themselves up with Tampa, muddy this game up. As you know, none of these players are in shape for the football season, so they had a perfect opportunity to keep the game close versus Miami. Now, if this game was later on in the season, like in October, and Miami's at their full destructive powers, this game is way different. What's your next one?
Well, real quick, I want to give a shout out to their kicker because that's dear to my heart right now. Position. But Cam Little didn't miss. Okay, 53-yard kick. He didn't miss. So shout out to the kicker for Jacksonville. And then the Dolphins, their kicker, he didn't do so good. Never mind. He got 2 for 3. So let me take that back. He did better than ours. So he got 2 for 3. He got 8 points. So good. Kudos to him too. But go ahead. What were you gonna say, Alvin?
I was gonna say you said that Miami won that game, but
did they really?
They didn't cover the spread.
ATM fumbled the ball into the end zone.
He fumbled the ball before reaching the end zone.
Right into the end zone.
Yep.
And he had another 1 yard line, another turnover. I think that they dominated that game for the most part. Even though Miami dominated the stat line, they only put up 17 points, I think it was.
That's it.
So
the game-winning field goal.
You don't fumble the ball in the 1 yard line, you win the ball. I thought Jacksonville played actually pretty good. But I think they lost the game more than Miami won the game. But I'm just asking,
And that's how I felt. I felt like I said earlier, Miami just didn't come in and do what Miami does. We're used to at this point now. A lot of people are expecting Miami to come in and put up 40 easy.
They played the Commanders in it.
Huh?
When they played the Commanders in it.
You said they didn't play.
No, don't even acknowledge that comment. What's your
next
name?
Don't do that.
When they play the Commanders, they do.
They didn't score. First of all, the largest range as far as their points last season was not against the Commanders. I need you to understand that.
No, that was 7.
You fell into the trap.
You're hyper focused. I understand you're hyper
fell into the trap, Lady A.
No. I understand that. Because that's not what happened. So, you're wrong, but it's okay. It happens in Dallas, often for the fan base. But the next game, the Texans and the Colts. I also chose this one because this particular game was also a very close game. Also, I like to keep tabs on CJ and Anthony, 2 very good quarterbacks. Truthfully, shout out to their defense because I really thought that they were going to kill it. CJ finished the game 24 for 32, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. Anthony Richardson, 9 for 19, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Clearly, the interception could have made a difference in this game because the final score was Houston 29, the Colts 27. And Anthony wasn't just a quarterback this particular game.
Never is.
He had 6 carries, 56 yards, 1 touchdown himself. Of course, and that's versus Joe Mixon on the Texans, 30 carries, 159 yards, 1 touchdown. So we have a running quarterback clearly. And this is another case of, he needs help. The Colts, he needs help.
He's got a wide receiver. He hit him, and your man took off, which made his passing stats look really well.
Right. Well, Alec Pierce, he only has 3 receptions, but he was the top one for receptions on the Colts. Versus, and he had 125 yards. So I'll give him that 1 touchdown. But having 1 receiver, is that enough?
No, he still got Pittman. He still has Pittman as well, but he has another one, the rookie, which is
he had Tank.
Or no, not CJ.
No. I'm sorry. That's sorry. Tank was doing his thing. For let me see. He had. Are you talking about? Because he had Ashton had more yards than Pittman. Ashton,
right? Yes, Ashton is the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Ashton's fast as grease lightning. Did an amazing job. But the thing I think that really stood out in this game was Joe Mixon. And Al said it. Joe Mixon had one hell of a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great pickup.
And that's what I was saying, as far as because and that's who Anthony was up against in regards to rushing on the other side. That Joe Mixon was their top dog and 30 carries. Like,
how many carries did Stewart get for Indianapolis? You have that?
Yeah, hold on, let me pull that.
You talking about Jonathan?
Yeah, that's their bell cow. Why
wouldn't you talking about Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor had 16 carries, 48 yards.
Yeah, but when Joe Mixon's running for when he's rushing 30 times, that means that the Colts offense is sitting on the bench.
Yeah,
the Colts offense is sitting on the bench, and I mean, when you know that Houston has the wide receivers that they have, and then you can't put 8 men in the box, Al. You know this, Al. Right. You see 7 men in the box, and you know what you're doing, right? You gone, right?
Well, see, here's the thing: the Colts didn't run the ball. That was the issue. The Colts were not, and sometimes it boils down to it. The Texans ran the ball most of the game.
Yeah, you was chasing them most of the game.
Yeah,
but Stephon Diggs had a big game. Tank Dell, Rico
did well.
All those guys stretched that field out so that Joe Mixon had running lanes. And I think
even CJ was running too. Let's not take that away from him. He had about 13 yards as well. So I mean, sometimes it does boil down to who was running the ball and who wasn't.
Control those trenches and you control the scoreboard. I tell you that all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good job, Lady A. Good job, Lady A. Say it. Give us your 2 games.
I got one problem with that though.
What?
You did not put the 3-minute church restriction on her that you put on me. Is that because I was talking about Dallas and she wasn't? I just want to know. You did not put
we still got something for you when you talk about Dallas.
I wasn't going to take everybody's time.
Look, we just didn't want to give it to you week 1, but we still got something in the bag for you when you get to talk about Dallas. We got something. We got something stashed away for you. Say it. What games you got?
I'm not gonna do 2 games. I'm just gonna do 1. I'm not gonna do 2 games.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do the Atlanta Falcons and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Figure.
Of course.
Shout out to my girl, Stella Queen. Good game. I listened to some nonsense today at work from a Steelers fan. He shall remain nameless, saying that the quarterback that played for them does not fit the system, and I just laughed at it. I said, as his game got longer, he got better. I said, I don't know what you was watching, but the game I watched, with him taking our running the ball 14 for 57 yards, made a difference, averaging 4.1 yards a run. Again, I don't know what game he was watching. And then he turned around and passed the ball. What was it? 17 to 23, 156 with a passer rating of 91.9. Again, I don't know what game he was watching because the game that I watched, the quarterback played superb. Their quarterback played superb. On the other hand, I don't know what was the Pro Football Focus was looking at when they rated Atlanta Falcons offensive line as top 5 because it looked like the same offensive line we had last year that couldn't block a sieve. Take it however you want because it looked like the same offensive line. That's what I saw all game. Let's put it where it is. Kirk Cousins is going to be he's a statue. So offensive coordinator, you can start the read option. Nobody respecting it.
First off, if you can't pass block, they say you could run block. And the last time I checked, you got Bijan Robinson and Algier, right?
Yep. Algier got 3 rushes for 21 yards, 7-yard average. All he got was 3 touches. Bijan 18 for 68 yards, 3.8 yards a rush.
What you all forgetting is you had one of the premier pass rushers outside of Myles Garrett in T.J. Watt to block, and you had one of the best defensive tackles in there in Cam Hayward to block. So any offensive line is going to have a trouble blocking those.
It doesn't make a difference because it's like I said, it's the same offensive line they had last year. Again, I don't know what PFF is talking about when they rated Atlanta Falcons offensive line as top 5. That's what they did. I'm still confused as to what they were seeing that I didn't see. They can't pass block. They can barely run block. When the quarterback can take 3 steps back without being hit because we have a statue now. We don't have a running quarterback. We didn't trade for Justin Fields. I don't know, but still, he's not going to take off. He's not going to take off and run. He is not going to take off and run. He's a statue, so they know where he's going to be at. That means you got to pass block. And if you can't pass block, you should have a running back chipping on one side or the other. And they barely did that. Every now and then somebody would chip, but it was a bare bones idea. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Arthur Smith is trashy.
But let me ask you,
what's that comment say? Say it. What's that comment say?
He came in, got the win.
Can I ask you a question, Steve? Do you think Arthur Smith's familiarity?
That's a good one, John. I thank you for that. What would you say? Go ahead. Would you say, Al? Go ahead.
Do you think that Arthur Smith's familiarity with the defense of Atlanta and the personnel had a lot to do with where he was able to find weaknesses and come back and kind of exploit that team? Maybe I think Atlanta will look a lot better next week. I think do you think that had a big part of why the Steelers were able to do what they did to Atlanta?
No. Different defensive coordinator. They fired the last one.
Okay.
So it goes back to what I said before. You know, a lot of them didn't play in the preseason. They didn't get the real live action against somebody rushing to the quarterback. It makes a difference. You ain't got to play the whole preseason. At least get a couple of series in under your belt and then get them out of there. Pat Mahomes played. The first team for the Chiefs played. They won 2 championships back to back. So you can't tell me it doesn't work. Yeah, you don't want nobody to get hurt.
You sound like somebody I listen to every day. You sound like somebody I listen to every day.
I'm just saying. Then we're going to see Philadelphia on Monday night. A team that's what? Guess what? They got 2 guys that rush up the middle like monsters. You got a defensive end. You got 2 defensive ends that's coming off the edge.
I'm gonna need y'all to pull your weight.
My game I want to talk about, and I want to get everybody involved in this one right here, is the game that we saw on Monday night, the San Francisco 49ers versus the New York Jets. Listen, Linda, listen. On paper, the New York Jets look like they should be challenging one of 4 teams challenging the Kansas City Chiefs on the AFC side. San Fran did not look like they're suffering from a Super Bowl hangover at all. You know, most of the time the runner-up, they come out, they flat because they still haven't gotten over that loss. They look like we can't wait to get this loss out of our mouth and give it to somebody else, right? What they say? Oh, mouth, we're gonna pour it in. What they say? What's that song? What's the song Trey Songz saying?
What?
Trey Songz saying? Here, we're gonna pour it out. We're gonna give it to you. All right, that's what they did, right? Jets, y'all know the Trey Songz joint.
I don't know. Oh, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, that one right there. All right, listen. And they gave that loss straight to the New York Jets. They said, hey, we held this L for a whole offseason. It's your turn to hold this L. Aaron Rodgers did play more than 4 plays, right? Great. Aaron Rodgers played more than 4 plays, but it's no way that none of us saw this running back Mason coming. When they said that Christian McCaffrey wasn't playing, my fantasy team went up in smokes because I needed Christian McCaffrey to play, right? But is it me, or did this offensive line have the mood of, dude, you about to rush for 100 yards. As long as you run hard, we got you.
It's a system that is a plug and play system. That's what you have with great football organizations, especially offenses, with a former Washington coach who's a great offensive schemer in Kyle Shanahan.
See, I love the fact that Al was a running back. Because Al, but you say it's a plug and play system, right? It's a plug and play system.
No, that's not to take it away from that running back because he played fantastic. He ran hard. He was decisive with his cuts. He didn't waste time on his cuts, and in the backfield, he hit the hole and he got going, and he was aggressive to the line of scrimmage and took it to that defense. So I applaud the running back, but
yes,
this system. But that's why I think McCaffrey gets too much credit as being a great running back, and because I think he's a good running back, but they want to make him into an all-time great running back. But he didn't play a full season until he got to San Francisco when he had all that talent around him, and they do use him in a fantastic way. But that system that Kyle Shanahan is set up for plug and play running back of certain styles, and the guy Mason was definitely that style.
Okay, so Mason fit that style. But you also have to have the offensive linemen that fit that scheme, right? And they got some dogs because they got a rookie number 77, which was the guard that they featured last night, saying that this dude was getting combo blocks. He was down. He take care of his man, right? Then knock a chip on a backer, and then move up to the secondary where he was looking to get pancakes. You know what I mean? Say it. I need you to focus up with me real quick. All right, listen, say it. San Fran's defense. Last night, me and Sid, we was talking on the phone, right? San Fran's defense looked like some killer bees the way they swarmed. Like when you saw them going to tackle, you saw 5, 6, 7 people showing up in the frame. Say it. Have you seen a defense fly around like this in a long time?
No. It's been a while, man, since they got out there and did their thing like that. And was able to fly around and make some plays. It didn't help that, the Jets are a little bit rusty. But I mean, I'm going to say this. I mean, the Jets, there were times when the Jets still look pretty good. And they may be scary later on in the year. But right now, they're still trying to gel. But San Francisco defense, they did their thing.
Yeah. And Lady A, San Fran brought everybody pretty much back, right? So we should expect them to perform a little bit better than the Jets because they've been together for some years, right? They may have 1 or 2 play pieces here or there. So my question to you is, who do you see contending with the Jets for the NFC? I mean, is it 3 or 4 teams? Is it 2 teams? How many teams do you see? I'm sorry, not the Jets, but with San Fran in the NFC.
I mean, it's really rough to say, seeing as though San Francisco last year was top dog. And like you said, they came back renewed. And a lot of times what we see with some teams, not all, but some teams can progress throughout the year. So if they progress throughout the year, and this is week 1, and they're off of, we were Super Bowl, last year, I don't know who's going to be able to compete with them. They're going to be a problem. They've shown that they're going to be a problem because a lot of people did not expect this game. They didn't expect it. I know I really didn't. I mean, Not to say that I didn't think that they would win or something like that, but I just did not expect them to dominate the field the way that they did. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Because it's number one, it's week one, right? Week one, a lot of people are just like kind of,
It's the
still
big pump
lax,
fake. It's the big pump fake.
Yeah, like week one can be considered another preseason game sometimes, but not this one. So I feel like San Francisco showed up. They said, hey, we're ready to play. And I respect that, So we'll see. It's kind of early to say who can compete with them. But if this is a taste of what we're going to see this season, they're going to be a problem for everybody.
Right. Al, you said you had something you wanted to say about that. You
Well, I was gonna piggyback off your comment about that defense. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw that missile called Fred Warner, but that
Oh
guy
my
was
God.
that guy was flying around hitting people where I had to go wrap my knee up while I was sitting on the couch because he was flying around hitting people and he might be one of my five scariest players where he was playing last night. But I have to say this, and this is all honesty, I envy the San Francisco organization because I think it's hard to keep going, being as good as you are for as
Mhm.
long as you are. Because we win games like that, but they consistently take it to the next step where they're challenging for the NFC champion, the NFC crown. They go to the Super Bowl, lose. Go to the NFC championship, lose, and probably would have went back that next year had Purdy not got hurt, and then come back another year and follow that up with another strong year personnel also. I envy that because that's a sign of greatness because very few teams, that a lot of the championship hangover where they lose and or the Super Bowl loser hangover, whatever they call, where they have down years. But whatever they do in that coaching staff or the organization or wherever, they continually find ways to motivate these guys. They continually make them the premier team in the NFC. And you say who's the team that's going to challenge them? They're heading. They start off head and heels above everybody else because they've been doing it very long for a few years now at a high level. And I think it's up to the rest of the NFC to catch them than it is who's going to challenge them right
Yeah, I like the way you said that. The rest of the NFC to catch them, which is why we play the season, is to find out who can reach those peaks and try to catch them. All right, lady A, you're in the center box right there because you know what time it is.
now.
Listen,
Uh-oh.
say it. Get your pinkies ready. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for that hot tea with Lady A. Get your pinkies ready. Let's go.
Well, I have a Christmas mug today. Okay.
Okay.
And the reason
Okay.
why I have a Christmas mug is because you can cancel Christmas. There's some drama going
That's
on
a
in the
Christmas boy. That's a
NFL.
big cup.
It is, yes, but
Well,
you can
she
cancel
said
Christmas.
cancel Christmas. All the kids gonna be
It's
disappointed.
already. I mean, what is going on? This is too early for some of this nonsense, right? So let's
Mm-hmm.
start with Alvin's favorite team.
Yeah,
So
man.
we already know that Dak got his
Empire.
contract. Okay. It's no secret.
Back at the strip club
Dak
like this
got their
right
money.
now.
Okay. $60 million a year man. Okay.
Damn.
He got his money. No shade to
Yeah.
him for that. A lot of people are angry though, because is Dak performing at this capacity? No. I don't care who you are. You don't have to be a
179 yards
fan.
for 60 million. I could do that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And so a lot of
Go
people are
back
like, he finessed Jerry again. What you say, Alvin?
Don't go back week one performance of yards. It was a dominant performance because he pulled the
No.
reins.
But we not we talking
Go
about
ahead.
overall. Dak's
You know,
performance
No.
overall. Is he a
in the
quarterback
regular season,
worth
is in the regular season,
200? Is he a quarterback worth
Mhm.
$231 million in guarantees?
Hey, lady,
Nope.
I
lady,
don't,
lady,
I don't know. I can
lady,
honestly
Nope.
say this. I,
Nope.
let me say one thing. You all can say no, but
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a very good friend of mine last night about this because I
Mhm.
was kind of wondering along the same lines of you all, and he asked me this one simple question: if we didn't sign that, what were we going to do?
Here's the
And
thing: the fact that they're
if
not
Dallas,
trying to
if Dallas,
explore,
hold on
they're
just a
not
second.
trying to
Um,
explore others. That's
how
the
can you
problem.
Lady A,
no,
what can you explore? Franchise
no,
quarterbacks, you can't sign them.
you
You can't
can't.
sign legit. You cannot. So when you have one that's a top 10 that wins you 12 games this year and potentially puts you in position to be a playoff contender, even though we may not play like one, I had to sit back and ask myself, if you're in Dallas's position, don't go from the Redskins, Commanders, or
That's
another
not
team's
where I'm
perspective.
coming from.
Go from Dallas' perspective when you got a $50 million cap hit next year. If he's on you, because if you haven't don't re-sign him, so you're going to already be $50 million in the hole off the break. And if you don't sign him, who are you going to sign?
So let me say this,
That's
Alvin. I'm
true.
not
That's
coming
facts.
from
'cause
a Commanders point of view, a Commanders fan point of view. I'm not coming from that point of view. I'm coming from HR point of view. Who did his performance evaluation? He does not deserve a raise. Okay. So there's that. So we're drinking tea today. We're drinking tea. We're not drinking Kool-Aid. So let's move on. So why did Dak
Cranberry
get
juice.
this? How did Dak? Who was on Dak's team? Well, apparently, I had to dig deep for this, y'all. CeeDee Lamb, who also got his money. CeeDee
He got
Lamb
his
did
money.
an interview, right? He said that he told them that he didn't want another quarterback. He didn't want to start over with another quarterback. So
Facts.
maybe that was wrapped up in some conversation with CeeDee Lamb and in regards to that. So
Can
if
I-
y'all want to be mad, because there
Can
are
I
a lot of
interrupt you for a
fans
minute?
that are mad.
Can I
Yeah,
get in
some
there
people
for a
are-
minute?
Huh?
So I too can speak to the fact that I've spoken to CeeDee Lamb, as y'all know. I've had a lot of conversations with Mr.
He
Lamb.
ain't coming to Washington. Go ahead.
No, but personally, since he's been in the league and he's been with Dak Prescott, he's literally told me, and this is coming off of Dak breaking his foot. Hey, when he said, I was in my office and he was like telling, hey, they was like, hey, Mr. G, somebody wants you out here. I was like, who want me? They was like, I think it's a Cowboy player. And I walk out and I see this big smile. He was like, 4 is back. And I was like, damn, that's not good. And so he really does mean that he don't want to play with no other quarterback but Dak.
Right. And so for those who are mad, you take that up with Jerry because he keep getting finesse, and you take that up with CeeDee Lamb. Okay.
I don't think so though. I'm gonna tell you something.
What don't you think? What's wrong?
As much as a lot of people like to put the Cowboy struggles on Dak, you can't say that Dak missed a bunch of tackles last year versus Green Bay and caused them to lose. That was on the defense.
He missed a bunch of receivers though.
Yeah, but if you guys don't give up 30 plus points,
he has to hit them targets. Is he
if y'all
getting
don't
them
give
targets?
up, if y'all don't give up 30 plus points, if y'all don't give up 30 plus points and y'all get turnovers like y'all was doing, hold on, wait. And here you go. See, you can't have it both ways, Al. You can't have it where you
at the end of the day, when you're paying someone top dollar, and I'm sure, and no, I'm not trying to drag Sid into this, but let's bring Sid's quarterback into this. When you're paying someone top dollar, okay, that's key point. They can be good all day long, but when you're paying them top dollar, there should be reason for that. You should match that same energy of your bank account. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
But it still depends on. Everyone hates on Brock Purdy because what do they say? That team is loaded. Look at Devo. Then you got Brandon Ayuk. Then you got Christian McCaffrey. Then you got Todd Uchek. Then you have this person, right? When you go to Dallas, and I said this, and I keep defending this point. When you go to Dallas, you got CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
What else do you have?
Okay.
So when it comes time to be in the playoffs, it's really easy to double CeeDee Lamb and make CeeDee and Dak look like they don't even know each other. But you have no running game that you can lean on.
So there are
you don't have a number 2 wide receiver.
Literally fall on Dak. That's all I'm saying.
You don't have a number 2 wide receiver.
When I said performance evaluation,
what is he supposed to do? Take less money and say, go get Justin Jefferson?
When I said performance evaluation, you are evaluating just their performance. You're not evaluating the stats. You're evaluating his performance. Did he hit his target? Was it his fault? Hold on. Was it his fault that he didn't hit that target, or was it somebody else's? Those are things that come
in the playoffs. It takes a little extra to win.
Hold on. When you are looking at someone for a contract, you are looking at them. You were
You're
looking at what they did.
You know what, Lady A? Wait. Lady A's right. Hold on a second. She's right. There's only one person out of that conversation should be highest paid quarterback going into the league. There's only 2 quarterbacks that played in the Super Bowl. One has won 2 in a row. One has been there 1 year, didn't get there. One has been there 1 year and didn't get back there again. There's Brock Purdy. There's Jalen Hurts. Dak has not made it to the AFC Championship game. He has not made it to the Super Bowl.
But see, that's not.
Wait. You cannot go out and hand a person that amount of money, and they have not made it to the situation where they can bring it all to the team.
But that's not
what
cool
you've done. Wait a minute, y'all. Let me finish. What you've done is you have severely handicapped your team.
Yeah.
You just paid a wide receiver. You just paid a quarterback. You're finna pay this linebacker. Guess what? There's no money left.
Can I
That's the best part.
Can I rebut one thing?
Go ahead.
If you look in the dictionary under next in line, it'll be that picture right there looking like this. Because he has benefited from being next in line, one, because that's what the quarterback, that's what they do. But if you base on what said, the only 2 quarterbacks gonna get paid is Purdy and Mahomes. But you see that the boy from Jacksonville just got his money, Herbert got his money, Joe Burrow got their money, all these guys because they're next in line. And what's that greatest benefit is, if you look at the quarterbacks that came out in his year, everyone that went before him is true.
You remember Herbert Essence lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion, and they had them on the ropes, but their head coach couldn't put their head out of 4-point contact to figure out what they were doing, which is throwing the ball instead of running the ball to keep the Chiefs off the side of the field.
And you have to look at what that quarterback is doing. How are they performing? That is the question. I don't care about what the rest of the team is doing when I'm talking about trying to pay you. Is Dak a better quarterback than Mahomes? Does he perform better?
I'm not saying that, but y'all keep forgetting. Y'all keep forgetting.
Performance. Hold on. Just his performance.
But
his performance. I'm not talking about nobody else.
His performance, right? His performance. Hey, and y'all in the chat, help me out here. Help me out. Help me out, please. Okay. Is Dak a world-class tennis player? Just put in the chat yes or no. That's all I'm asking. And y'all can answer. Say it. Is Dak a world-class tennis player?
It's enough on that. We don't say
no. Okay, that's a no.
I have other pieces of tea. I know why Dak got paid.
He's not, right? Because listen, tennis, golf, those are the individual sports, right? This is the ultimate team sport. And what I'm saying is this: where's his team?
But let me say something.
You didn't listen to me. It's okay. You didn't listen.
Go ahead. Let's move on.
Is Jason Tatum the best player in the NBA?
Let's get a direct hit toward Baton Rouge.
Is Jason Tatum the best player in the NBA?
You said who?
Jason Tatum. Is he the best player in the NBA?
No.
But he got paid the most because why? He was next in line. That's all Dak is.
So when you say next in line, you talking about next in line to get paid or to do good?
To get paid.
Oh, okay. But I don't agree with that. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying they do it in other sports. Don't single Dak out in football, but they do it in other sports.
No. I'm only singling him out because he got paid more than everybody else. That's all.
And so did in other sports. So the other players who weren't the best at that particular sport or their position.
Let me say this: I don't care what team he played for. I need to put that out there. I don't care what team he played for. When Kirk Cousins got paid, what we do? We was looking at Kirk Cousins. Is Kirk Cousins that guy? Is Dak that guy? That conversation is being said about him, no matter who we're talking about.
To be determined.
We always bring that.
What's your next spot of tea? What's your next spot of tea?
We got some more tea. So we talked a little bit about Miami, right? Yeah. They were off their game. There was some things that happened. that might explain why they could possibly, I'm not saying that's the only reason, but they could possibly be off their game. Tyreek Hill, star for the Miami Dolphins.
Someone please
Mhm,
dial
mhm.
He is a
911.
star for the Miami Dolphins. Key point, star for Miami Dolphins. Right before he had to go and play as a star, he gets pulled over. He gets manhandled. Okay. Thrown to the ground, cuffed, the whole nine. There is a video. For those who have not seen it, you can Google it. I'm sure lots of things will pull up. Okay.
How do you Google? How do you Google?
Oh, well, you can, it depends on your browser. You can go into it if that is already on your browser, as far as your selected search engine. Just type it in there. If not, you can go to google.com.
Can I go to YouTube?
And then you can go to YouTube will pull up if you Google it. So
Okay.
Mr. Tyreek Hill, bless his heart, because the aftermath, I felt like he showed more maturity than some after the fact. He is usually, apparently, and I didn't know this until after the fact, he's actually an advocate for law enforcement. And he was speaking out against this, saying that, you know, hopefully his mistreatment, because that's what it was, because they were extremely rough with him and it was unnecessary. His treatment caused him to feel like, okay, well, we need to improve the relations between the community and law enforcement, which I agree that should happen. But for him to go strictly there, he either has an amazing publicist, a PR person to talk him into that, or this young man is more mature than a lot of people give him credit for. That police officer, so that particular police officer that was responsible for that behavior has been placed on leave. There are a lot of people speaking out against him. Naturally, Stephen A. is one of them. He talked bad about the police department, but he also said that Tyreek should have been compliant, pretty much. If you watch it, it is disturbing to see. And like I said, it was it definitely was not called for. When you look at the way that the officers are supposed to conduct themselves, was Tyreek a little too I don't have whiskey in the mug, not today. Okay, it's tea. But could Tyreek have done something different in any situation? 9.5 times out of time, you can do something different. You could do something to help improve the situation. But you know, thank goodness it didn't end in other ways that it could have. And he was able to move past this. The Dolphins still won, barely, but they still won. Let's move on to my last subject. I want to point out to you guys that it is
okay. Let's get it.
It is 2024. It is not 2021. It is not 2022. And I'm saying this because some people may be confused when you look at the headlines of some of these stories that are going on. And I'm talking about none other than Watson. Sorry. Deshaun Watson from the Cleveland
Not
Browns.
DJ.
No, not DJ. He's good. Mr. Watson was previously sued, right? By 26, he had 26 cases, okay, of different women suing him and claiming sexual misconduct of some sort, right? And yes, the joke is running about massage therapists and things like that, because that is his place of choice. Another young lady has come forth. So now we have the 27th lawsuit. This incident happened in 2020, in October of 2020. He requested a massage from her at her apartment. And unfortunately, this was in Texas. Unfortunately, the young lady said that he sexually assaulted her.
Wait.
What?
What's the address?
Anyway, so
Happy
unfortunately,
ending, happy ending, happy ending. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
unfortunately, and she has filed the case under Jane Doe. Yes, a fine for Pick. She has filed a case under Jane Doe. I mean, I have no words at this point because this young man was out here wilding.
He got a problem.
He was out here.
I'm hoping that it's false, man. I'm hoping there's a false accusation because I can't believe this guy. Is he really that stupid?
Well, when we say it's 27 different cases, somebody's telling the truth, Alvin.
I know. No, I'm not talking about the 26 before. I'm talking about this new accusation, man. I mean, I'm just hoping. I'm not saying you're wrong because if he did this, I'm just saying.
So, you may be hoping that, but we can't blame the victim here. We don't know the situation. However, this young man has a
problem. He has a problem.
He has a habit of doing something that is inappropriate.
Can we get him some help?
He should have got those weeks he wasn't playing for Cleveland when he was suspended for this same situation. So I'm hoping.
This incident, they said this incident was from 2020. So it was prior to all of that. It's just it sheds light on a lot of problems that I feel like the NFL needs to address amongst their players. You have a lot of things in place, but mentally, you have a lot of players that are not right mentally.
Absolutely.
And that needs to be addressed because when you give someone who has certain issues, and you give them all this money and you release them onto the public, you have things like this. You have people who are now being the aggressor in situations that, maybe they would not have been in the first place had they not have this particular status or this money. Not to say they wouldn't do it at all. However, their reach is broad. So this kind of sheds light on some things. But this particular young lady, a lot of people are questioning why, she's filing now. I do want to point out there is a 5-year statute of limitation for her claims.
She's trying to get that in.
She's within her 5 years. So we're not sure if she contacted the police yet. However, Don, it's not old news. It's new news. That's what I just said.
It is new news.
New news. This is a new case. This is not old, and I think you might want to.
But he does need help. Like he does need help. He has some kind of a problem, some kind of a fetish.
In fairness, if this is dating back to 2020, it doesn't make it right. But I think it should be seen in this from the perspective of this is part of the old things that happened in the past. Because if this was a new allegation that happened within the last year, then I think it would be much more incriminating upon him. This could be a woman who didn't get to get her claim in with the other 26, or like you said, hurry up getting it in before the statute of limitation runs out. I'm just saying it just kind of soars a little bit.
His punishment, though, Al, his punishment may have been based off of the 26 cases. You see what I'm saying? Like if when you're in a court of law, you definitely they address each case, each incident. So you have to kind of look at it like that. Even though this incident happened in 2020, he has not received any type of punishment. This is
not criminal.
Let's bring this to the field.
But even with the NFL, they may have made their decision and they could have gone down the list and said this for this, this for that. You know what I mean? They could have had some type of formula that they had for punishing him in regards to these incidents that he has, or these cases that he has. Go ahead.
Lady A, let's bring this to the field real quick, right?
Mhm.
With how bad he played, how much he's been injured,
Yeah.
right? Deshaun Watson had one of those Kirk Cousins contracts. Right now,
Worse.
do you think that Cleveland is trying to get out of the Deshaun Watson business?
So let me say this. I do believe that there are going to be serious conversations about Deshaun. And the reason being, when you look at it from a branding standpoint, a legal standpoint, you know, you're making the NFL look bad. You're bringing bad publicity to your organization. And no organization, I don't care whether they say it or not, they can say they're staying behind him, they can suspend him, whatever the case may be. They're not happy. They're definitely not happy, because here we go again, you know. So there is going to be conversations on whether or not they feel he is valuable, and also look at how much he's guaranteed for, you know. Look at other options or what they have. They're having these conversations, whether they say
he's not playing, and he's not playing well on top of that. So I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot right there. You playing bad.
But the thing is, I believe after watching the game, they found something toward the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They found something that was clicking for them. They got them back together. I don't think it's gonna be the same way in this next game. I think that the next game would be well played, and I think that the offense will play much better than it did this week. I'm telling you, as I watched that game, they look bad early. But in the third quarter, late in the third quarter, when they made that drive, it's like something clicked for that team.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be better next game.
But like to go on what you just said, I agree. They look better in the second half. But the sad part about it, Cleveland doesn't have a choice, because they've signed him to the worst contract in the history of NFL thus far.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they paid him most of his guaranteed money, but he's still on the books for $172 million for the next 2 years.
Yep.
They can't trade him.
Yeah. Well, but here's another thing. He has not. This young lady can press charges, criminal charges. So if that happens, they're not going to have a choice. They're not going to be able to play him. He can't play being locked up.
They better get involved and hope they can pay her off or something to get her not to press charge. I'm just telling you, because Cleveland can't afford it. Not only I'm not talking about
but then here's the problem. That's problematic. That's problematic. You know, like to society. You mean to tell me that this? You see what I'm saying? That's the reason why people take issue with the NFL now. If they pay her off, then that's problematic. That's an issue, and we don't want to push that. But I mean, real talk. Like Cleveland is looking at him as if, is he worth it? Is he worth all of this?
No, he's not. He wasn't worth it before.
For one, I'm not going to put Jay in timeout for that for once, because I feel like Deshaun must want to be roommates with R. Kelly. Because what?
The craziest thing you said, he has to be checked into a mental asylum if he did do something else outside of those. But like I said, go ahead, Sid. I'm just saying, I just hope the fact I don't know if I want to say better, but I can understand it better because it's an old charge, not a new charge. But it's a new charge based upon being years old. I can understand it a lot better. But go ahead, Sid. I'm sorry.
And so Christmas is canceled, just to let y'all know.
Christmas is canceled. All right, listen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is time. Y'all have been patient. We got 30 of you watching right now. Been patient for the best segment of First String Podcast. That's why we put it at the end. It's because we're about to bring that bump biblically with you. Y'all know what it is. It's leaking oil with said.
A mess.
So get ready. I hope you set your drinks down, because I don't want you spitting all over your computers and phones and everything like that. Leaking Oil is brought to you by Leaking Oil is brought to you by
Frisco. That's all
Frisco.
you
Yeah, you absolutely right because
Mobile one.
Dallas fumbled the bag right into the hands of Dak Prescott.
I was about to say, why the camera off? I already knew it was going to be some mess.
But welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Instead of a patch over your eye,
let's call me One Eye See today. One Eye See today. One Eye See today. Why am I One Eye See today? Because you know I got a couple things to talk about over the weekend. We saw here some college football and some pro football. You know, and you know what? I'm gonna start with the college football first. Some of my friends, you know, I'm sorry. Don't take none of this personal. I'm just saying. But as I watched the team that does this, beat on this team right here because they was doing what? They was drinking. They were drinking. They wasn't fighting nobody. They was drunk. They was drunk out there. Wolfpack took him out there, beat him across the head. Hey, you know what? Have another. Somebody, let's bring the drinks down from the stand. Give them another. They deserve it. And you know what the bad thing about it is? I'm glad you don't want to be in the conference. That one loss gonna hurt because you're not in the conference. Had you stayed in the ACC and won the ACC with that one loss, you still be in it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Moving on. Next, I need to go to Grapevine, find out who these poll voters are, and tell me how Alabama's still at number 5.
What?
You went into the fourth quarter against an unranked, I don't care, 5-4, it don't make a difference. You went into the fourth quarter against an unranked South Florida who had you on the ropes. Had the boy not fumbled the ball, they would have been up in the fourth quarter. 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, you are losing to South Florida. Not winning, not blowing out, losing.
Yeah.
And you telling me there was no drop in that? They should have dropped out of the top 5? Okay. You think I've been drinking? All them been drinking. I don't know who voted that nonsense. They are not. You said legal orders for me. Thank you, John. Thank you. But for them, y'all, I'm gonna need y'all to give them some of the Georgia justice y'all gave them last year when we lost that one game, a championship game. Didn't lose all year, lost a championship game. But hey, again, it's neither here nor there. We moving on. So now we're gonna move back to the NFL. I got Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, and Deshaun Watson. You know what I got for y'all? Oxygen.
Whoa.
So that's what you look like out there. You need this right here.
Oh my God! What's from this? What is
you
that?
Need oxygen out there. You walk around like y'all tired and can't breathe out there. Hey, sub in. But you know what? You the starter. We can't take you out. How about get out there and do some calisthenics or something like that? You know, do a little court. Hey, need y'all to get your oxygen up. I'm real disappointed in y'all today. And wait a minute, we're not done yet. Now we're not done yet. We're gonna move on to our boy, y'all love us so much because he in y'all division, Daniel Jones. Right?
Oh, DJ
Jones.
Okay.
You get a pick. You get a pick. Just throw your hands up. I'm throwing to everybody on defense. You got one. Need that money. You got one. Need that money. Daniel Jones out here stinking up. Bring Tyrod Taylor back. He played that offense better than you did anyway. Out here just looking like
you can't. He's in
New York, New Jersey. I don't know what happened, Coach. I don't know. I threw the ball. He wasn't there because you ran the wrong. You know what? Never mind. Never mind. I'm gonna let that slide. But last but not least,
what I said.
I got in late today.
Okay.
I got in late today. Right? So I couldn't go back and pull this up. But the best meme of the day is that Kansas City played where Mahomes threw the ball to Travis Kelce, that they brought in Taylor Swift body over Travis Kelce and ran that touchdown. When I tell you I watched that like 15 times and giggled every single time, you had time to do this. You got Tay out there high stepping to the end zone. What in the world? I thought my editing skills was on par. That boy editing skills is off the chain. I wanted to bring the video. I got in a little late. Tad was acting up. But you know what? I still got one more. I got one more for last week. Hey, Florida State.
Oh. You know what?
Yeah.
But,
Coach, you on my leg, coach. I can't move. Coach, you on my leg. On my leg, coach.
oh my God.
Wait a minute. It's still on fire? I thought we were supposed to throw it to the ground.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Florida State down. They on fire. Season on fire.
Hey,
Coach
they
behind seat.
done.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, you said you got the horse down. You got the horse down.
Hey, Florida State. Sorry. And they recruit the number one cornerback in the nation. Who tomorrow going to Florida State? Come on, player. Come on and flip back to Georgia. Only way you waste your time. Yeah, you're gonna get on the field. Yeah, you're gonna get on the field. You're not gonna make the playoffs. Not in Florida State.
Dang.
Not with DJ Ungale. Well, you only got 1 year. DJ Ungale. I got a player. I'm telling you, player. I listened to the dude for like 20 minutes and just practice. DJ Ungale. Got it. I'm all over.
Can I say it?
No.
Say it. Go ahead. Say it one more
You
time.
will be conjuring spirits. We don't know what you be saying.
Go ahead, Vic. Say it one time.
Okay, say it one more time. Say it one more time.
Oh my
God. DJ
DJ Ungale.
See, that's right there.
Hey,
I got it.
That's it for the day.
No, you don't.
Hey, this League of Oil was said for the day. Thank y'all for joining me. I got my little eye patch on. I want to make sure y'all see. We only gave half effort this week because unlike Ole Miss,
okay,
Georgia believes in not blowing out the underdog. While Ole Miss is still throwing the ball in the fourth quarter, trying to put 80 up on the team who just came in and get a little PT in.
They was trying to make the over.
Yeah, I bet they did.
Bottom sale, but you heard it here first. You heard it here first. When you try to make somebody look bad like that at some point, gonna come back and get you.
I said that last week about the Rutgers team, Greg Schiano. I agree with you.
All right, listen up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. That was Leaking Oil with Said, brought to you by the good folks at Crisco
and Duster.
And
Mobile One, your local gas station, your local Philly station, all of them. They want to be a part of this. They just got to pay us to get Said's endorsements. That was Leaking Oil with Said.
Hey, I had one for Cincinnati, but I couldn't get my props together.
Oh no.
I had one for Cincinnati.
Said that you got a couple more. You got to check. You got to start checking the emails, man. John said his team is leaking oil. He said,
what John say?
Right here, said, I'm sorry, my team is leaking oil. How the quarterback got more rushing yards than the running backs?
It's a few quarterbacks.
You know what? And every team with a quarterback led the team in rushing for the weekend, they all lost.
Yep.
You better start checking the email. Said you gotta check the email. Said you gotta check the email, man.
Every team that had the quarterback leading in rushing, they lost.
Yeah, I believe it.
All right, listen up.
It was only 2.
Yeah, here we go. It was only 2, and all both lost. All both of them lost. Washington and who else?
Lost?
Who else? Who was the other one?
How about Seattle? How many yards you because I know Gino had on a 35-yard run. Did he lead the team in rushing, or was it Kenny Walker?
No, Kenneth Walker led
Washington
and Kenneth Walker led Seattle in rushing.
Baltimore.
It was Washington and Baltimore.
The other team.
It was Baltimore.
Yeah,
it was Lamar. It was Lamar because Lamar had like almost 80 yards rushing.
Talk about him, right? Didn't I just talk about the team?
Mm-hmm.
Who? What team?
Who did I talk about?
I don't
know. Said he had more rushing yards than the Colts, right?
Let me help y'all out. You talking about Anthony Richardson?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's Anthony Richardson. They lost too though.
That's what. Yeah, I'm saying it was more than 2. That's all.
He had more rushing line. He didn't have more rushing line, did he?
Then everybody else.
He had more than Jonathan Taylor. Yeah.
Yep.
Taylor only had 46, I think, or 48. I think. They said.
All right, so check this out. We'll be back on Saturday with our NFL pick show. We will have Max.
Wait. Thursday?
Saturday.
No.
Saturday.
Thursday?
Oh, shoot. You right, Said. Ooh. Okay, let's get that in.
Yes.
Didn't do the game.
What happened?
We got a pick
Thursday.
for Thursday
We got a
night.
Thursday game. We got a Thursday game. Let me get to it real quick, man. Say it. I'm ready to jump off.
You know why Pick does that? Why Pick does that? Let me go ahead and update the stats.
He must be losing the pick.
I'm not losing.
You didn't email me. Let me know what
I'm sorry.
what you have. Let me go ahead and remind everyone for the last time, since it is week 1 for the last time. Let me go ahead and remind everyone who was the winner last year for the last 2 years.
Okay, is this the last time we're gonna see this?
Yeah, this is the last time, lady. It's the last time. This handsome guy right here going back to back. NFL picks leader back to back and for the First Thing podcast. Hey, make sure you get a look now who we talking about. Because like I thought I slowed this last week, I thought I slowed last year, I thought I slowed this year. So with that being said,
I mean he ain't cheat off for nobody today.
Hold on. Where'd it go? I know I put it in here.
Did you put it in?
I did. But you know what? That's all right. I got time. While you do that right there,
all right, I got this.
Slide it in right quick because I got it right here.
Go.
What?
We went to a 3 quad. There she goes. She coming back.
Oh, there she goes. She probably lost.
I don't know what I did. I was trying to help.
You was trying to cheat on your spreadsheet. Okay,
later. You ain't. I got it. I finished that. I just only thing I didn't do was the overall leader, and I'll do the overall leader for next week. The overall leaderboard is going to be the same as week 1. So I mean,
that's me.
Right.
As you can see, for week 1, you got Lady A leading the way again. This is what she did last year. Lady A 97, 2 picks 79. Corey was 77. I was 6-10, and we didn't get Alvin picks. He was 1-1 in the first 2 games we had for the Thursday and Friday game last week.
No. Hold on. I'm going to the chat. I'm going to the chat on this one. I'm going to the jury. Okay. I'm going to the jury on this one.
Hey, Pick.
All right, listen.
A couple of them over unders got you.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I'm just telling you. Listen, I'm going to the jury on this one. All right.
Why are you going to the jury?
To the jury. I'm going to the jury. Listen.
I put my notes in there and everything.
Listen up, jury. Okay. Lady A did not make the show on Saturday, right?
Correct.
So neither did Alvin, right?
Right.
Okay.
Lady A emailed me and said her picks at 3:30 on Sunday. Most of the morning. So I'm asking the jury.
But no, some of those was wrong too. I just sent y'all my
or leading the pack. I'm just asking the jury.
Whatever. Because some of those I got wrong.
Yes.
Some of those I got wrong, Pick.
They said you ever cheat on the test.
She's only up 2 games, Pick.
I saw it. Trust me.
She's only up 2 games.
He's a hater.
I'm not hating.
It's not like she's undefeated, Pick.
I'm honestly not hating. But listen, I do know this. I do know that I was not a good cheater. I was not a good cheater. But when I did cheat, I was always told to make sure some of your answers are wrong. Right?
Pick, she only up 2 games.
I'm just saying, Jerry.
Right.
She only up 2 games.
I'm only up 2 games over you.
And had Tennessee quarterback learn how to keep the ball and just take the sack instead of throwing it in the air like old punk. I'd have won that game too.
Said. That's 2 of us. Had Miami scored more points, I would have those punk. 2 games.
He's slaying the ball.
There's a method to my madness, and I've tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell y'all before. There is always a method to my madness, and y'all don't listen.
Reach y'all.
No, I did. They were not over. They were not over.
I'm just saying.
Let me see her first loss.
I didn't Pick be hating because I did not. The games were not over.
Her first loss was Houston and the Colts, and what was the next loss at?
I got it right here in my email. I started.
And I put notes.
The Raiders
and everything made sense. Everything made sense. I'm not going with Bills.
You're a Buffalo fan, so she picked.
I'm not going with the Bills.
Exactly. Okay. You know that.
Let's go ahead and get this game in right quick before we forget.
All right, okay, I got it up. Okay, here we go. On Thursday night, we have Buffalo Bills taking on Miami Dolphins. Listen, the graphics department pretty much told me I'm not doing no graphics during the week. I got you on Saturday, and I don't know what to do with the graphics department when it comes to Thursday night games. But we got the Buffalo Bills. We got the Buffalo Bills at +2.5 at -110. Their money line is +115. The Miami Dolphins are -2 at -110. Their money line is -135. The over-under is set at 48.5. -115 for the over, -105 for the under. Cuzzo said Miami by 10. God,
Alvin, you first, Alvin.
I'm first.
Yep.
Well, I was 2-1 actually last week, but I gave y'all 2. But I'm gonna go off. I did pick wrong on on Baltimore.
2-1. It was only 2 games played.
I told you. I took the over. I told you the over too. And then,
over on which one? Because I got to read it down right here.
Baltimore, Kansas City over. I said Baltimore on the money line and the over, and Philadelphia.
We only do it per game. We only do it per game.
He did a parlay. He did a parlay.
Right, we only count that as one.
But you lost. But you said Baltimore.
Yeah,
I did.
Money line.
Baltimore and the over, right? So you lost one part of that parlay. You did a same game parlay. You lost. So that's an L. It's one L. It don't count as 2 L's. It counts as one.
Okay, so talk to him. Who you got?
Buffalo.
How you want them?
Buffalo.
How you want
them? With hot wing sauce. I want them with the point. Well, I want them later point. Are we giving points, right?
Yeah,
I want Buffalo with the points. It's gonna be warm Buffalo with some hot sauce and some ranch dressing. Going down to Miami. Buffalo with the 2.5.
This is gonna be real quick. Give me Miami and give me Miami in a blowout money line.
Miami in a blowout money line.
You know what? Take that back. Give me Miami and I'm gonna lay the 2.5. That's how much confidence I feel like Miami gonna win this game. Go ahead.
Lay in the 2.5.
That'll be pick. You up next pick.
Okay. I'm next, right? Yep. Listen, y'all know my friend that passed. Y'all know Gene, huge Buffalo Bills fan. I feel like Gene was like the angel in the outfield for Buffalo last week. But Gene you can't do that twice. You can't run that back twice, Gene. You can't run that back twice. Not 2 weeks in a row. Give me Miami on the money line. I'm with you, Drew. Give me Miami on the money line. I'm with you, Bruce.
You said it too. What y'all telling me last week? Lay the 2.5 pick. Lay the 2.5. What y'all telling me last week? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Lay the money.
I ain't saying
What y'all failing to realize is the aftermath from this week's situation with Tyreek is going to spill over into next week, and it's going to be a hangover factor that Miami will not come out sharp.
They don't have time for it. They don't have time for that. They don't have. They played Sunday. They got to get ready for Thursday.
He got to go to court for child support. He got to go to court for this ticket. He got to go to court for all this stuff. Tyreek got too many court dates this week. Y'all better realize he's not going to be sharp. He's not going to be sharp.
Come on,
so I have a question. What's the points? What's the over under? What's the points?
I put it on.
It's 48.5.
48.5.
Okay, hold on.
Flip your coin.
Come with a win, lady. Come with a win, baby.
So let me think. So that's roughly that's too close. That's too close. So they need around 20, 23, 24 points, right?
A piece.
Right, a piece.
A piece.
I'm gonna go with the over.
You should have went with Buffalo.
One game closer.
Have you met me?
I'm 1 game closer.
Because I'm not doing that.
She don't go with Buffalo. And
I'm gonna make you a Buffalo fan for this.
Hold on, wait. Here's
Miami. Let me say this. I strongly believe
Alvin,
Miami will win this game.
Alvin, read that chat.
Can I get a side bet for if Lady A will ever pick Detroit to win? No, she won't pick Detroit. She might pick Buffalo, but she pick Detroit. But
No, she's
she
not picking
definitely
either
pick
one of them
Detroit.
teams.
No, thank you.
She's not picking either one of those teams. Listen,
But
on
Miami will
Saturday, we have Max from 106.7 The Fan. He'll be our guest picker this week, right? Yeah, Max will be our guest picker this week. So we'll have his everything up for him. And then on Tuesday, we have Miss Donna Hopkins, DC legend. So make sure you guys check in with us. Miss Donna Hopkins will be here with us to review or recap the Giants Commanders game. And of course, we'll have you guys here with us too. So we appreciate each and every one of y'all for doing what y'all do. Alvin to be here crying about a loss next week, and to the Saints, and Say It will also be talking about
wait, one more thing. Hey, Alvin, turn to your level to your right, whichever one you want. I've got to give this to you. I'm so sorry. Whichever.
Oh, you got a
Wilson. You got a Wilson because you're out there by yourself, Alvin. You want to turn to the left, turn to the right. You want to take it straight to the face.
I'll take it straight to the face, man.
What? Oh no! Don't ever take it straight to the.
Wilson!
We ain't gonna do it, baby.
Wilson!
I swear.
That one deserved two.
Yeah. I ain't know what I was talking about. Y'all set me up right now. See, that's what I'm talking about.
You didn't even falling into all the traps.
I swear, I did fall. They ain't even see. I don't mind being by myself.
Do it on Saturday.
It's okay, don't say it. Buffalo will prevail, and I will be the only one that goes 1-0.
That's what Lady A said last week. She
should have picked the over. She did pick the over, but she should have went with Buffalo. I tried to give her some.
No, thank you.
You wasn't going with Buffalo. She was going with me. See, that's the difference. She was riding in my car.
I would never.
I was gonna ride through Buffalo. We're gonna keep on going to Niagara Falls, but now.
Isn't Miami the favorite?
Miami is the favorite.
So that
means here we go.
Other people think that too.
Say it.
But they're wrong. Oh, when you want these 5 scariest players?
Who?
The 5 scariest players. When you say we
got y'all on Saturday. We got y'all on Saturday.
I got it.
Said, did we cover everything?
We got it all.
All right, Lady A, is your finger on the button?
See, you know what? If this is what you need, every single. Let me not. I'll wait to fuss at you.
Okay, good, cool.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing now, Sid?
Man, he about to cut off the circulation to his eyebrows.
He's about to pass out.
He's gonna cut off all the circulation to his eyebrows.
Thank y'all for hanging in there with us. Shouts out to my son, United States Air Force. First String Podcast, second to none. Come get some. Tell him, Sid.
Go Dogs.
Hell.
Artlist.io